Hola, hola. Um, Today is Monday, May 13th. I did not check myself into the place today. We're having to go through like insurance and um, all this deductible, blah, 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 blah stuff. So we're trying to get stuff situated and squared away. However, that does not it could be an excuse if I allowed it to, but it cannot be an excuse. So God sent my insurance company to call. And I don't know if your insurance company calls you to check on you, but they sent a licensed counselor to call me to check on me to see how I was doing. And she said, she's like, if you look on the back of your card, it gives you these member services numbers. And so you might want to check in with your insurance and call member services and see what they offer. Because a lot of them, she was telling me about a program called TeluDoc or Teledoc or something like that, where they have licensed psychiatrists and counselors that you can talk to over the phone. So if you're thinking of, especially if you're in a small town or in a town that is not really renowned for their doctors and their treatments and their therapies and whatnot, this can be an alternative. So get a hold of your insurance company and see how they can come alongside you or your child while working through depression. She even told me, she's like, I can be your coach. She's like, let's set up some goals and then I'll check in with you weekly and see where you are on, accomplishing your goals. And I think that's amazing. If you do not have an accountability partner in everything that you do in every aspect, you need to get you one. It is part of the arsenal of mental health, I think, is accountability. Pick someone from your church, someone you look up to, someone that that you kind of want to mirror to hold accountable. Don't call your boy that also has the same kind of issues you do. Because they're going to talk you into drinking or drugging or, just self-sabotaging your way versus changing your ways. So it's all a part of creating new habits, creating a new environment. This is a time in your life where you lose a lot of friends. Some of your friends are your best friends, but they allow you to get away with things that aren't the best for you or for your family. And so whenever you're on this journey of change, people usually give you a hard time. I know, especially in my culture, the Hispanic culture, are just like, ay, he got Jesus, quien se cree? She thinks she's all that or whatever. Or now that she's married, there she goes. It's just, we're really hard on each other. We're really judgmental on each other. So, when you see someone posting about their relationship with Jesus or where their life is changing for the better, don't criticize. Know that there was something astronomically huge that just happened in their life that could have either broken them or made them better. And they made the choice to stay and make it better. So, give them a thumbs up, like, or a little heart when you see someone doing something that's not their typical selves. I have cousins that take pictures that they're like half naked, and I never like them. And then whenever they post something that they're more moderately clothed or whatnot, I'm like, hey, I love this picture. I want to see you. I don't want to see your stuff. So this also brings me to kind of talk about God for a minute. God does not want us depressed. He doesn't want us to stay kind of where we are. And I don't know about you and how you feel about sales, but clearance sales, everything must go store wide, liquidation. I see those and I'm like, yes, winning. I'm going to get me some, and I justify my spending because I saved so much money. So usually whenever Matt gets home, I'm like, have bags. I'm like, look how much money I saved. I'm like, if I would have only been able to get 3 things, but instead I got 8. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to look better, smell better, so be it. But it made me start to think about how we kind of, whenever we're praying with a diligent heart, when we're asking God, Lord, search my heart, reveal to me what it is, the things that I need to change. You got to be careful praying that prayer, first of all, because he is, and he will. If you ask God to use you, he will, and he's going to have to put your old life on clearance, on the Everything Must Go. Right under that banner is going to be the old you. I think that's what baptism symbolizes. Honestly, that's your clearance. You're on clearance rack. Everything must go. Your past has to go. Your secrets have to go. All of those things you have to unpack, and you have to move forward from in order to make room for what God does have in store for you. So some of you may be confused, why are you doing something like this? I think you're brave. If you knew that there was a little bit of selfishness behind this, I don't think you would think I'm as brave. But there are some things that people know about me that they feel like they can use over my head, and to keep me stuck in certain places. And so what better way than to just come out and just be like, this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is what I've struggled with. If you think you can hold this over my head, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to live in the light and not in the darkness. I've been kept, I feel like, in prison for a long time for some of my secrets, some of the things that I wouldn't share, and they were being used against me. And that's not a way to live either. So anyway, that went deep for a quick second. But yeah, so everything, I just wrote some notes when I was thinking about this. But the Everything Must Go clearance rack, right? You have to make room for those that are more profitable, and for those feelings that are more profitable. You have to learn to say goodbye to anger, learn to say goodbye to your depression, so that you can make room for joy and for peace. Again, I've been through some crazy stuff, and I think a lot of I don't think your situations are any different than mine. We're probably going through the same nonsense. It just the people in our lives are different. The characters are different. I have struggled with how I'm either completely disconnected, or my alter ego personality, crazy girl Jenna, she shows up. And so in this process with this borderline personality disorder, it's a journey on how to tame crazy bitch Jenna, because she doesn't need to come out all the time, but it's what is triggering her to come out. I feel like there should be like a scary movie made about like La Llorona. You say her name 3 times and this crazy bitch Jenna comes out and all hell breaks loose. So we're trying to figure out what triggers Jenna, what are some hurts? What are some sore spots? And I'm working through those. And I know what they are, and I know who they are, and it's hard because it's the people that you love the most that you realize have done some kind of messed up things along the way, and you're trying to forgive them of what they did a long time ago and not holding it against them, but then realizing, shit, I'm so fucked up, and no wonder. So this past week, Matt has helped a lot. He's turned his phone off quite a bit. He's been more attentive. In fact, he self-admittedly said, a year ago when you were diagnosed with this, he's like, I heard you say it. He's like, but I didn't care. I just thought it was, oh my gosh, something else that Jennifer's been diagnosed with, whatever. She'll take care of it. I don't have to worry about it. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. And he's like, and I realized that I should have picked up a book. I should have called your doctor. I should have done some research and like, hey, what is this? What do we need to change in our life? He's like, and I didn't. And that's when I told him, we had the honest conversation. I said, honestly, I didn't know what it was either. They told me I had it. I was like, okay, what's going to change? Like, here, take this medication this many times a day, blah, blah, blah. Come back. We're going to talk. You feel worse. You feel depressed. Let me know. I was like, so I thought the pill was just going to fix me. I didn't realize that the pill doesn't really fix anything. It allows you not to go off the deep end as quickly, but you still have to do the work. You still have to set yourself up for success because there's going to be plenty of people around you that are going to cause chaos and they're going to try to get you off your course. But you have to have, you have to have like this squad in place. You have to have these rituals that you take yourself through every time. So I hope you guys had a great Mother's Day weekend. My Mother's Day weekend was very strange. I struggled with a lot of guilt. I wanted to call my mom and I didn't because I knew I would just cry knowing what I've put her through the last week and a half. And I wanted her to enjoy her day. I struggled calling my stepmom. Yeah. I struggled with a lot of guilt. I couldn't believe that just a week ago I tried to take my own life, and it's like here there's some people that are supposed to be celebrating me, and for what? Because in a split moment I lost my shit and I didn't even want to be a mom. But I knew that was not the case. It wasn't that I didn't want to be a mom. I felt so horrible as the mother, as a wife, that I didn't want to feel like that anymore. Not that I didn't want to be a mother anymore. It was that feeling that you get when you happen to be a wife and a mother. So stopping and realizing and identifying that was one, it was huge on my part. And two, it allowed me to try to enjoy my Mother's Day as much as possible. And so I thought about you guys, especially those of you that reached out, either have private messaged me or text me or have called or whatnot. I thought about you guys. I really, really did. And I appreciate your thoughts and your prayers. I appreciate you walking out this journey with me. Again, I'm doing this because it's therapeutic and I just don't want to live in this shame anymore. And I don't think you deserve it either. I don't ever want you to look at a picture or at a snippet of my life on social media and be like, dang, that girl's got it and I have nothing. I felt like there was just a need and a calling for people to be more authentic, more genuine. And isn't it strange that it takes a certain kind of courage and bravery to be your authentic self? Like when you think about being your authentic self, it shouldn't be that difficult, but we're just so scared. And in 1 John 4:18, I actually have this scrapbook here that I made. But anyway, it says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear." And this is the book that we had to make for our adoption journey. This was right before we got Luke. This was the special scrapbook that his birth mother looked through and chose us. And so it was actually a really good reminder that perfect love does cast out fear, and that there is no fear in love. And those of us who are dealing with depression and wondering what to do, where do we belong, where do we go, when we're functioning in fear, we're not living our life completely. And that's not what God intended us to do. So it doesn't mean that's the wrong person. It just means that's the wrong feeling. So how do you change that feeling? How do you change that feeling from fear into fun, from fear to trust? I think we all struggle with trying to be our most vulnerable self. And it's probably because our spouse or those that are closest to us have not proven themselves to be trustworthy with our most vulnerable self. So then you have to pose a question, are those people worth keeping around if you can't be truly who you want to be? The reason why I love Matt so much is because Matt loves my crazy. And he reassures me of that. But he also makes me crazy. And that he's just now being aware of, like, oh shit, she has triggers. I'm a lot of these things. And I told him, I was like, I'm having doctors now tell me I need to leave this marriage because you're choosing not to change. I'm the one that's pursuing a diagnosis, medication, help, everything. You're choosing not to. So who's the crazy one, really? But I told him, listen, if I'm doing this journey to get better, you can't lollygag. You can't only just pour into your business. And then I also realized we had poured so much into building our real estate team that we started neglecting other areas. And we have to work as hard as we do for our jobs, as we do for our marriage, and as you do for each child that you have to parent. That's why I'm only limited to one child, because I don't know how you mothers do it that have multiple children. I don't. And maybe that's why I'm super crazy and you're not, because I'm just I'm blowing things a little bit out of perspective. I'm trying to be the best mom I can to Luke, while I'm dealing with some serious dysfunction. So, anyway, thanks for listening. Again, I hope that my dysfunction allows you to accept your dysfunction. Actually, really quickly, whenever you do start to get help, they ask you these really weird questions like, do you know who the President of the United States is? What's your date of birth? They just want these are just like very basic line questions. And I'm like, I'm answering them, properly, accordingly. But at the same time, I'm somewhere else. I'm like, I wonder what, like, a real, like, someone that struggles with, like, schizophrenia or whatever, like, I would love to have this job and just hear what other people have to say. Like, in a fucked up way, but like, it would just be amazing. I'm just so intrigued by the mind that way. But anyway, then they ask you, are you thinking about hurting yourself currently? Or are you thinking about hurting someone else? And every time they ask me that, and they ask you that like 3 times a day when you're in the mental institution, okay? Just so you know, they ask you that all the time. They're taking your vitals. They're like, you feel like hurting yourself right now? Like, no. Like, you feel like hurting somebody else? Like, I can think of somebody else who deserves to be here, and that would be Matthew Kelderman, my husband. I'm like, so do I want to hurt him right now? I kind of want to punch him in the face. Yes. And then I was like, so if that makes me crazy, then I'm freaking crazy. So it was funny that I was able to make some of the nurses laugh, and they're like, girl, you're not crazy. They're our men. They just do some crazy shit to us, and they just push buttons, and they don't realize how much we have to take on. And so it was just really reassuring to hear other normal people tell me how normal I am, and that whatever I'm going through, like, not to just hang my head on it and to get so hung up on the diagnosis. But I also told Matt, I was like, I always wanted to have like initials after my name, like, MD or I don't know, whatever. But I was like, I didn't ever think that it would be Jennifer Velarde Kelderman, BPD. I want to say bipolar, borderline personality disorder. Right? Those are not the great initials that I wanted after my name. But here we are. So again, I hope you had a great Mother's Day. Love your moms. They have to deal with so much. Those of you teenagers, if you're watching this and you're struggling with depression and you're suffering with just your dark moments, you know what those are. Go easy on your mom, seriously, because moms fight for their kids in ways that I didn't know you could. And I have 2 moms and I have 2 dads. So when it takes a village to raise a kid, I believe it. It took 4 of them to raise me. And apparently they're still not done. So love your mom extra today. I think last week I told you to love your kid that is not part of your right now family, that maybe came from an extension of your family prior. So today, love your mom extra. Send her a text message or whatever, or send her a YouTube video of mariachis. Y'all, I want to share this video with you guys so bad. Luke, a couple weeks ago, asked me, Mommy, Mother's Day's coming. What do you want for Mother's Day? I told him, like, oh, whatever, Lukey, like, don't worry about it. And I was like, but Mommy would love to go to a restaurant and listen to mariachis. So none of those things happened. Oh, we did go to a restaurant, but yesterday morning he wore this hot pink sombrero, and he put his his luchador mask on, and he grabbed his guitar, and he serenaded me. He wrote this song that's called "I Love You, Mama," and I want you guys to see it so bad, because it is the sweetest thing. But then I just kind of want to keep it to myself because, oh my goodness, it was sweet. So I'm struggling with whether I should show you or not, or I just keep it for myself. Anyway, again, have a great day. We'll talk soon. Ciao, mi gente.